are here with Kailey Trussel today. I'm so excited. Before we hop in and get Kailey on here, I got a couple of things to announce before we get started. The Beyond UX Design shop is open. That's right. Head on over to beyonduxdesign.com/shop. Pick up some big, beautiful art prints of some of my favorite UX-related quotes, along with a bunch of other stuff. Get free shipping on all orders over $30. And stick around until the end to get a coupon code for 25% off. This week's episode is brought to you by the UX Playbook. Do you feel lost in your UX career journey? Let the UX Playbook be your roadmap to success. If you want to transform your career from fuzzy to focus, make sure to grab UX Playbook's Fast Track Bundle. Head on over to beyonduxdesign.com/playbook. Use the promo code BEYOND for nearly $25 off all those examples, videos, tips, handcrafted by my buddy Chris. Don't wait. Get your UX journey back on track with the UX Playbook and transform your career from fuzzy to focused. And as always, thanks so much to Chris, Siraquan, Stacy, Radu, Megan, Andrew, John Mark, Kevin, Jason, Michelle, and Marty for their support. And if you want to join these fine folks and many others and help keep all of this independent and ad-free, you get rough transcripts, exclusive access to the entire video library of episodes, including episodes before they're even released. And you can get instant access right now for as little as $5 a month. That's a steal. For more information on how you can support the show and help more people find out about what we're doing here, make sure to check out beyonduxdesign.com/support. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Kailey on. Kailey, welcome to Beyond UX Live. I'm so excited to have you on.
It's so good to be here.
Right on. So Kailey's a creative strategist, super hireable person, in case you didn't know, with 4+ years of experience working in UX research, design, and content. She's worked in several small startup environments, and she's worn a variety of hats. But the common theme throughout all of her experience is finding ways to make things more clear, effective, and engaging. She's passionate about empowering people and eager to leverage her skills and experience to amplify impact, which is exactly what we're doing here today. Kailey, welcome to Beyond UX Design. I already said that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. It's okay. You can never welcome me enough. I'll never stop gushing over how happy and excited I am to be here. So
right on. So I've got these little things that I got to pop up. All right. So ask Kailey anything in the chat, questions in the comments. We've got some people who submitted a bunch of stuff earlier, but we're going to read some stuff people submitted. We're going to look through, monitor the chat, and we'll try to balance that and make sure everybody gets their stuff answered. If we don't get to it all, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Anyway, before we get started, anybody listening out there, if you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, we can see it in our little interface here. Let us know where you're at. I'd love to know where you're hollering at us from. So where you're watching. So Kailey, are you excited to hang out? I'm really excited to chat.
I'm so excited. And I'm going to say this before we even get started, is that Jeremy was one of the first people that promoted me on LinkedIn, or when I made my Super Hireable post last year. I don't even know how you came across it, but I got tagged in this cool guy, and he was just like, "This is amazing," blah blah blah. And so it feels so full circle to get to be here now with you, having this conversation a year later.
Well, hell yeah. Well, yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I was going to say that was one of the things I meant to mention, and you did it for me. But yeah, so I found you about a year or so ago. The Super Hireable posting came up, and I was like, this is amazing. I always talk about how important it is to get out there on LinkedIn and promote yourself, because nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
You took a resume, a portfolio, you kind of mashed them together into the carousels that everybody was doing, and you made this thing. And not only that, you're sharing it with everybody else, which I think is awesome. So we've got a bunch of questions that came in early. I know you and I could probably talk forever, so we're just gonna hop into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Make sure you get the questions down there in the chat. Everybody listening right now, we're gonna hop back and forth. But the first one that came through, I think this is maybe the best place to start. Yeah. How did you come up with this idea in the first place, and where did this idea come from?
Also, wait, I need to say hi, Mom and Dad, if you're watching this. I think you are.
Are they really?
I'm pretty sure they are.
I love it.
I wanted I also need to say first, I know there's people on here who probably have heard me say these same things a million times, so I'm just warning you ahead of time. Sorry if you hear me repeating myself. And the story of Super Hireable is a really long one, and I've said it so many times, you'd think I can say it really concisely now. So here I go. I got laid off from my second job less than 6 months, November of 2022. I spent maybe like 6 months trying to be very subtle on LinkedIn, did not want to promote, did not want anybody to know that I was looking for work, just very quietly messaging people whenever I saw opportunities. And I got to a point, it was probably like April, I want to say, that I truly was like bottom of the barrel, was like, I need help. I need to tap outside of myself, look for help elsewhere. So I came across Amy Santee, who has been a guest on your show, who I'm a huge Amy Santee advocate. Everybody should have an Amy in their life, and reached out to her and asked for some career coaching help. And it was through Amy that I was able to get a lot more focused on my targeted of what I was looking for. And that's what I realized I was super missing. That was like a very big element. I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking for exactly. I don't even know what I want. I'm just trying to fit whatever these hiring managers are asking that they want. So with that was one piece of, she helped me to get way more focused on what I was looking for. And she also super encouraged me to post on LinkedIn, which I am like the number one. I was so terrified. I literally couldn't sleep the night before. I felt so sick with anxiety. It was just like, I never posted on LinkedIn prior to that. And so I think I needed that nudge to be like, you just have to put yourself out there. And there were a lot of puzzle pieces for how Super Hireable came about. Amy was a very big piece of that puzzle. The other puzzle was, we've all been on LinkedIn. We are all on LinkedIn. We see the onslaught. Like,
I'm actually on LinkedIn right now.
We are literally on LinkedIn right now, and we see those posts. They are like blocks of text long, saying like, I am so sad, and I've lost my job. Also trying to thank their employer that just laid them off, which that's a whole other thing. And again, but people being really vague about what it was that they were looking for. And that was another, I'm just like absorbing all of this, of like observing, looking at what's going on here. And I realized I like felt myself becoming desensitized to other people's laid off posts. I was like, another dime a dozen. We're just dropping like flies, which we are. But still, when I thought about having to post my own, I was like, I can't post another one that's just adding to this onslaught, this sea, you could say, of posts. And so I knew I needed to do something that was going to kind of break that up. And that's where the idea of like a visual, I was like, I need something that's going to make people stop their scrolling and just pay a little bit more attention to me. And so then that is part of how I came up with the idea of like, why don't I do a carousel, something like really eye-catching. I'm going to put my face and be like, hey, hello, this is me. I'm right here. Look at me. And so that was another important piece of it. That's how I came up with the carousel idea.
I love that.
And then I'm going to say the last part was, I knew I needed to get really like specific with what I was asking for. I needed to give people like help people help me. And so that is why I put like those calls to action on there. And I got really like, I just told people, this is what you can do to help me, instead of just, saying good luck, sending you good vibes.
Thoughts and prayers.
It's thoughts and prayers. I needed to get more specific. And again, that's where that key of also being really specific of what type of job I was looking for, that was really helpful. I know I've been talking a long time. This is the last part that I'm going to say that was really key and really important. Was also, though, I saw this amazing talk, and I've sent it to a million people, and I've posted about it. She's a ADP list design mentor, Joy Jiang, and she made a talk where she just was like, okay, this is the common thing I'm seeing with all of you mentees, is that you all are trying everything to fit into this job description of what the hiring managers are saying that they are looking for. And so then again, you're all blending in together, and you're not actually like, instead reframe it to like, how am I telling my story? What is the story? How do I like back up that, yes, I'm not your typical candidate. That's the name of her talk. Go look it up on YouTube. I'm not your typical candidate, and that's okay. It's okay for me to not be your typical candidate, and here's why. And now I'm going to back it up with why that is. So we take all of those puzzle pieces together, and that is how I came up with the idea to do a Super Hireable carousel that I designed in Canva. And
sweet.
Yeah, I'm going to stop there.
I love that. All right. I love that. I actually have a follow-up question. So this was not a question. Actually, maybe this was one of the questions, but
sure.
I'm going to summarize. I think a couple of people maybe asked the same one. That active call to action, that not the passive, like, thoughts and prayers thing, but the active call to action. what type of change did you see when you started asking for very specific things? What kind of result did you get? What kind of response
Yeah,
did you get?
the people answered the call.
Right
They
on.
were
Okay.
like commenting on it again, like engagement. I maybe another thing is like I am constantly thinking about how can I hack this system, you know? And we have to play this stupid LinkedIn game, but I do try to be really intentional and authentic with my engagement on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. But it literally is like commenting on a post is so much more helpful. It helps the reach of your post way more. I should say that too. I actually did research on like LinkedIn algorithm stuff of
Okay, we have a question about that specifically.
perfect. Okay, and we'll get to that later. So that was one
Yeah,
of
we'll
them.
get
It's
to that.
like commenting
Yeah.
on a post. So I said, people,
Uh-huh.
like you, if you engage with this post, it will help get my profile under people's eyes. I've
Mm-hmm.
told you of like this is what I'm looking for. So if you see anything that goes along with what I'm looking for, that send me that job post. Write a referral. If you know people, I think we all know that like it's a big networking, it's who you know. And so if
Yeah.
you know people who you think would resonate with my vibe, who see so much of my personality that I've put on full display for all of you here on this post, then I want to talk to them. And so again, just giving people, if they did that. That's what they did. They did that. They connected with cool people. They did comment and react to it. They did send me jobs. So people will do.
Yeah.
I think they'll do what you want them to do. You just got to tell them what you want them to do.
You gotta ask. That's
Yeah, you
exactly
got to
right.
ask.
Yeah.
You just have to
Yeah.
ask.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease,
Yep,
as they
it's
always
so
say.
true.
Before we move on, actually, I forgot to do that. I meant to do this. I got all excited about
Sure,
my next
that's
question.
okay.
AmySanti.com, by the way.
Yes,
If you want to find Amy, and also you can check Amy out. She came on the show, but she was also Sophie on our Tale of the Cursed Prototype Halloween
I
special
listened to that.
on the Beyond UX Design Halloween. There's going to be
Very
another
fun.
one this year, too. We're going to work on that. And a Christmas episode, too.
Make
So
sure
stay
you
tuned for that.
put Amy in it again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She's
We had
great.
a lot of fun doing that. All right, cool. So that was one of the questions was about the reach and stuff. I'm curious. Let's talk a little bit about maybe the algorithm. There was a question specifically. Where to go? Do you have any insights? What have you learned?
Yeah,
About the algorithm and how to like hack. I don't know.
I
I know
know.
it's
I
like
know.
hard to say. You're not an SEO expert or anything, but
No.
this is obviously a secret. LinkedIn doesn't say. But what kind of things have you kind of noticed? That was a question about the LinkedIn algorithm and how to maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know, game the system, I guess.
This is
I
what
know
I've
you're not an
noticed.
expert, but
And again, I am not an expert. I do not claim. I actually do think the LinkedIn algorithm is a big mystery that we actually none of us know. But it makes me feel better, if anything. Being like, I think I've noticed this. I feel like I've seen a difference when I've done these things. It's things like even you'll see if you look at my Super Hireable post from last year to this year, I changed the dimensions of it so that it was taller, which actually does make sense because then it's longer for people to have to scroll through. It gives you more room. Commenting is so much more important than reposting actually and reacting. Also notice that the readability, I guess, as well, like you need a post that actually people can read, like trying to make it like as concise as possible, I think is a really big deal. And also the time that you post it as well. Like I do make mine, I'm in Seattle Pacific time zone. So I try to do mine like somewhere between 8 and 9 in the morning.
Okay.
So that East Coast people, they're maybe checking or at their lunch break or something. I do think that the timing, people will see it eventually, but maybe I don't know, that helps when we're first logging in. Hopefully that's what's popping up on their feed. I literally texted everybody I know as well. I texted friends.
Hey, go check out my post.
Like, even if you have a LinkedIn account, I don't even care if you don't use it. I would text them the link and I said, "Hi, it's your local LinkedIn influencer here. Like, can you please just go comment and react to this? Don't say something like comment for better reach or something. Like, try to just take a second, look at it, and say something actually intentional or helpful, something specific if you can about the post."
Yeah, I love that. So that's something too I think is worth noting here.
Yeah.
Tying it back to what you said before, which
is
you asked for a specific form of help, right?
Yeah.
I have this post. You're asking for help in the post, but you're also asking, hey, I need to get my name out there. I need to get this out there. Can you help me with this by doing this?
Yeah.
Specifically. Don't just say comment for reach. Don't just like it. Don't repost it. Can you actually go comment on it? I am obviously no expert in content creation, and there are people out there that do a way better job than me. But I have noticed personally that reposting a post generally doesn't get as many views as like actually writing a new post. So commenting definitely helps. But asking people, I love that you like texted them actually, like not even on
I,
LinkedIn, like, hey, go open your LinkedIn app,
yes.
wipe off the cobwebs. Can you go comment on this thing, please? Make your
Uh-huh.
first comment in 10 years, please.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, if people want to help you, I mean, they are. I think the other thing too is like being aware of how many times you can do that, though, right? That's something
Yes.
you
Yeah. Oh no.
probably
Don't.
can't do that. Yeah, just to,
Right. 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 Don't be so obnoxious. Right. There's a
mhm.
fine line there as well.
Well, let
Yeah.
me ask you this: how many times have you done that, asking for very specific help promoting a post? Did you just do that once, the
I
first
think
one? Have you done
I
it
didn't do it
again,
the
or?
first time. I didn't do it the first time. I did
Mm,
it the second time. And what's the cool about it is that I will say, like, I really feel like the success of Super Hireable has come because of other people. Like, this was not just me who did this on my own in any capacity.
mm-hmm.
I've had a year now of like building a pretty intentional supportive network. And
Yeah.
so I was able to message it to people who are on LinkedIn as well. Like I gained like so many other people who are on this journey with me, other job seekers who also need help and support with their own efforts.
Mm-hmm.
I am missing a part. What did you just ask? Say that question again.
I don't even
I
remember
was
what you
going
said.
somewhere with it. No. It's coming to me. I don't do it all the
I
time.
asked
Oh, how
about
many
how
times? How many
often do
times
you?
have I
Yeah,
done it?
go
How
ahead.
often?
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I feel like I would be curious to know my friends. They're like, too many. Like, stop.
Would you stop texting me?
I
Yeah,
really
right.
think I've only done it 3 times, and it depends. This last one, I was very like, no, I got everybody who who I did feel like comfortable asking for engagement with, but because I've built actual relationships with these people though too,
Yeah,
so it was
yeah,
easier to ask as well because I
yeah.
know that they're here for me. They're trying to support however they can.
See,
Um,
that's something I think is so critical. You just mentioned
yes,
relationships, and
yes,
this is something I say all the time. Relationships are so important for networking. They're important for building software, but the relationship piece. And when you go and post and stuff about LinkedIn, this is what I tell people all the time. If you're going to go post on LinkedIn, have a goal.
yep,
And the goal might high level be get a job, but that job is temporary in the grand scheme of things. You're probably going to leave
totally,
after a few years. You're not going to retire from this job. So that those relationships that you build while you're looking for a job, the relationships that you build while you have a job, those relationships will blossom over time if
yep.
you keep
It takes
feeding
time.
them, if you water them. And so, but that relationship piece is so important is it can't be transactional.
No, no,
It
not at
can't just
all.
be, hey, do something for me. It's like,
Yeah,
in your case, you're giving back, you're sharing this template, you're helping people, you're reposting everybody when they use a template, so
hmm
you're taking your reach and you're expanding their reach. So, I think that's just so important for anybody listening. It's like asking for help to promote the thing is important, sure, but
yeah.
you've got to be willing to give back. And I think that relationship piece, I love that you're doing that.
Yeah, I want to say really, really quick of I play a long game with LinkedIn. Like that is something I say to everybody all the time. Of like,
Yeah.
yes, I do need a job. I would like to get a job, but that's not actually my primary goal with what I'm doing with LinkedIn. And that has made it so much more sustainable, so much more rewarding, so much more valuable
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Yeah. All right. So we got a question
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
LinkedIn comments from Diana. Have you updated the carousel? You mentioned you did. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yes.
How often do you update it?
No.
And do you update it for reach or just because your objectives changed or maybe your goals
Yeah,
changed?
I
What?
think a combination of all those things. I think I look at my first post and I will always have love for my first post. It
It's a
was
baby.
helped
Yeah,
me,
right. Yeah, right.
it walked so that this last one could run. And, but I made some significant changes. You can look at the difference between the two, where I changed the color scheme. I changed the wording. I learned from other people's posts that I've seen of ones that have done well and what haven't. Other people came up with posts on their own and added their own sparkle to it. I was like, that is a really good idea. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I made differences or changes to it based on the design. I just think this last one was designed. It was so much more concise. I made this one more visual. And I also tried to add more of like specifics. I realized that was something I was missing from my first one was that I didn't really have like, here's like what I've done. Like, here's some high level wins. Like I was missing that high level wins slide. And so I knew that was
Mm.
something I was missing that I needed to say, give a recruiter, a hiring manager, like, oh, here's like big things that she's actually done in her work besides just saying like, I'm a really great communicator. I did put that in there because I do want people to know kind of like what my soft skills or interpersonal relationships like
Right.
are. But I also wanted to give them something as far as like metrics. Um, yeah. So that was a big change, I feel
like the
and the
outcomes,
the
like
visual aspect
yeah.
as well, making more like you'll see my journey one, like the making it a squiggly path, and then I reference that later, saying like, yes, I have a squiggly career path, and because of that, just trying to make it
Oh, I
really
love that. Yeah, yeah.
cohesive throughout all of it.
All right, so this leads me into the next question. We got a
Yeah.
couple questions that are very similar.
Okay.
Um, let's see. Where was the one? Where to go? I have a list, and they're not in any particular order. Oh, here he is. How do we effectively showcase your personality and your unique qualities through using your template? So
Yeah.
I know when you and I talked, you were like, people are just kind of copying and pasting their information on my template, but the idea is you kind of embrace your personal brand. Effectively showcasing those things and maybe using bits and pieces and leaving some of it out. What are your thoughts? How would you like to see people taking
Yeah.
their own personal brand and applying it to your templates?
Yeah, I think that is probably the biggest like key important thing that you do with a super hireable post is you have to make it your own, and the ways to do that would be through the fonts, through the colors that you're using. I would even say try to break up the format. Like you don't have to follow the exact format that I used. I think it's so key that people think about who are your hiring managers, who are your recruiters, like who for your industry, your field. Again, I have a lot of thoughts about this as far as like I really did lean into being authentic with my personality. I know there's people who will look at my posts and be like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
that's a lot," but that's me. Like that, like I did try to balance it, and I think it is really key that you make it so authentic to you and who you are, because that is what is going to translate better than when people go to your LinkedIn profile, when they actually interview you. It's all part of like the cohesive storytelling. And so the clearer you can get about you and your story and what you're trying to do, then the field you're trying to be in, then the better. So I would say I really would love for people to actually like, I want them to do it better than me. Like I want somebody to post one that's even cool. I'm like, I'd be like, oh, I wish I had thought of that. I wish I had added that or put that in my carousel.
I love that. All right. This is another really good question. What common mistakes do you often see people that are taking your templates? What mistakes do you see when they're creating their own versions of this? And maybe, some things that kind of drive you nuts. You're like, stop doing that. Things to avoid.
Yeah, I would say the most common mistakes I'm seeing are people using, like copying the color and the font of it. Maybe even using like the same copy as well. I think there's principles, like do put something of like your journey on there, or put what makes you stand out. But when people will probably go, or they may look at my profile, and then if it doesn't again match with like your brand overall, then I think it's kind of easy. If people click at your post, see your post, and then they go to your LinkedIn profile and they see something totally different, then that's gonna kind of halt their journey that you're taking them on, I guess, of getting to know you and meet you. So yeah, I'd say the most common one that I see. And I'm also gonna say I see a lot, and this was a mistake I made in my first one, was I put way too much text. Like mine still does have text, but you have to think about the readability.
Sure.
And like people are only looking at this for 2 seconds. They are not reading. I did the same thing where I was like, I wanted to put my whole entire, and also anybody who gave me feedback, I had so many people who I was asking for feedback before I posted it. And so if you saw like my first iterations that I had, it was so much more cluttered because I wanted to throw up everything. And that's where I was like, really my goal with this is just to get people's attention, to get them in my profile or want to talk to me. So you don't need to put your entire life career story into, you really have to focus, like be so intentional of like, why am I putting this blurb here, or this graphic here? Why am I doing it this way? That I think, you got to be so intentional about why you're doing what you're doing with it.
I love that. I want to see. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I kind of want to see. That first iteration.
Oh, I will make a post someday. I will, and I will let everyone see.
You should totally do that.
I'm happy to do that, and but then also you can see how my journey, how far I've come, the progress, and also that I'm very grateful for feedback from other people.
Yeah. Real quick, I accidentally clicked on that comment as I wanted to talk about this. I don't know who that is because it just says LinkedIn user. I don't know who that is. But anyway, they talk about actually wanting to repel people, right? You might want to. So this is something like I tell people all the time. It's like you put yourself out there, you put your authentic self, right?
Yep.
Part of that is because you've got the power to say no. you don't
Yes.
have to take every job that comes your way.
Yes.
And so you want to put yourself out there. You might want to show off a certain personality trait that's a non-negotiable for you, and filter out those companies that you would never want to work for in the first place. So I think that's something to keep in mind as you're doing this. It's like, what is
Absolutely.
that thing you want to show off? And how can you attract the companies that you actually want? You might repel some, for sure,
Totally.
but that's not bad, you know. And
I'm
but I
okay
think
with that.
there's a balance. It's like that's certainly a privileged approach, right? You certainly have to have a
Oh,
run in.
sure.
You
Sure.
certainly have to have the money. If you have 5 kids, a mortgage you can't
You're like,
afford,
I
and
just
credit
need a
card debt,
job.
you need a job. Maybe you do want to be less, I guess off-putting for lack of
Personality,
a better
yeah,
word.
or
Yeah,
like so many colors. No, absolutely, and that's where I would say, like, I think you could still make something like a super hireable post and just tone it down a lot. If you're like, my priority here is just to get a job, then just strip it back, tone it back. If Because if you're not really trying to find a place that does align, it's not saying that it won't, but
yeah,
um, it
yeah.
can't. I don't think it would hurt. I just think everyone should make a super hireable post. I really mean it.
Everybody,
Like,
just do it.
honestly, I just even like having it pinned on somebody's profile. Like, it's just a way to, again, when you're thinking of long game, it's just like a quick bite-sized way for people to just get to know you and know your background, and that cuts through like so much noise.
Yeah, I love it. All right, this is a good question related to how to know if what you're doing is effective. Obviously, getting a job offer means it's effective, but that's not always going to happen, especially in the job market right now.
Yeah.
Is there some way you're measuring the effectiveness of these posts? Like, you have any metrics to say if I see X, then I know I'm doing a good job, like an OKR type of thing, or some kind of like key result to track?
I honestly, I feel like do I track? I mean, I will track. I'm trying to, honestly, with this last post. It did blow up so much. I am going to apologize to everyone here who has sent me a message and I have not responded to you yet. It's been a little overwhelming. I'm not going to lie. So
You're getting too
I'm
popular.
trying to track leads as much as I can, and that has still been difficult on its own.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. I feel like a metric. I know this isn't popular. I know that numbers are important. I really do. I wrote down the numbers if people were interested. I can share those maybe later, of like what's happened. But really, like, for me, it's been the qualitative aspect of it, meaning like the quality of the connections that I've made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
I know that she's also watching this, and I'm going to shout out Molly Martin from Expedia Group, one of my targeted companies. She has become my number one hype girl, and we have been establishing, like, she's doing everything in her power to help me find a job at where I want to be doing what I want to do. And so I think it's the quality of the connections or the leads that you're getting, the relationships that you're building.
Yeah.
That is what's been my kind of metric that I've been keeping. Like, yes, I keep track of like the impressions or the leads that I have,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's not a quality
Yeah.
one, then I'm not as interested
Right.
in it.
And I think that goes back to, like, you put yourself out there, and let's say, not, I think it's fair to say most of these posts probably won't blow up the same that yours has, because you were sort of the first one to do it.
Sure.
But, maybe, you're not going to be able to expect the same type of response. But let's say 100, 200 people, whatever it is. You might not want all 200 people that responded to you.
Nope.
You might not want to work there at all. So I
Can
think that's something to
confirm.
think about. The qualitative piece that you mentioned, it's
Yeah.
high quality. How do you measure that? It's a lot
Yeah.
harder to analyze qualitative results, as we know, as UX designers. So anyway, that's really interesting. Do you have like a board or something where you kind of like do sort of like affinity mapping, and you kind of put like different groups, different like sentiment together to kind of analyze and sort of find
Like,
themes and things? Or
just think like of what, of like job leads or of what
just the feedback. I mean, just in general, like leads. It
feedback.
could be leads. It could be what, I don't know. I'm just sort
I
of
feel like it's
making
like,
that
oh,
question up
maybe
on
I'm
the
just
fly.
like, I have a lot of draft LinkedIn posts maybe, or of like where I'm writing almost like journaling, maybe a little bit of just like, here's what I'm thinking or what I'm learning about all of this experience. All I have is like a spreadsheet, Excel sheet of leads, like people to connect to, career pages that people maybe sent me
Mm-hmm.
saying like, keep an eye on these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a
Let's
bad
see.
idea.
I'm gonna highlight this real quick from Molly. She knows you're gonna add so much
I
value
love
to it, Carly.
Molly
There we go. There it
so
is, Molly.
much.
Thanks
That's
for the
like
shout
a
out.
really cool whole story that I will have to share another time. But definitely
I
like the
love it.
coolest thing that's happened. Molly is also BFFs with Canva, who we all know that I am the biggest fangirl of. So
Oh,
it's
watch
just
out.
it's been really cool. I think I wrote this down, of like 6 out of my 10 target companies that I put have
Mm-hmm.
reached out to me in some capacity.
That's awesome. See, like, yeah, how do you measure that? It's just like one of those things that, and we got some questions about like what the results and all this stuff that I want to make sure we get to in a minute. But I think that's just so important. We had a couple of questions that are very similar. Michael asked this in the LinkedIn chat, and we had some people submit some questions, but suggestions for people that might be hesitant to post or
Yeah.
bad at talking about themselves.
Yes.
Michael mentions he's awful at selling himself. Some other people mentioned just like, I'm not like, I don't like putting myself out there.
Yep.
I don't like posting on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Any thoughts? Is it just
so many thoughts? So many thoughts. This is another thing I'll add. I think I'm being so delusional sometimes about all of this. And I think that is okay. I think it is okay to lean into some delusionality. I remember it was last year when I was, again, trying to build up the courage to post on LinkedIn. I came across like some big sales influencer dude, and he put some stat that was like 90, I literally can't remember. It was something like 97% of your network isn't even going to see your post, like or what you're putting on LinkedIn. And that was something I was like, you know what, maybe that's not true, but I'm going to just believe it anyway. And it did really help me to be like, the people who you are thinking are going to see and look at your post or judge you, whatever it is, like you're scared of what they're going to think about you. We don't have time for them. Like we cannot be thinking about them. We are trying to get jobs. We are trying to connect. We are trying to build a LinkedIn that we all want to be on. And that's just not my audience. That's just like not who I'm trying to cater to. And I can truly attest to this from this last year of like, it's like the Field of Dreams quote of like, if you build it, they will come. Like if you put yourself out there, the people who resonate with you, who you want to be connecting with, they will get it. They will see it. They will resonate with your vibe, and that is who you're talking to and connecting with. And I think everybody's LinkedIn feeds are so different. You really just don't know like who or what is. And this, you said this to me a year ago, and I've said this before. Of you don't know who's gonna see your post like down the road. You said that. You literally said like people are gonna remember your Super Hireable post in a year, and you were 1,000% right about that. And so I think maybe you do not think about the metrics. I know that's so hard, but I really don't look at when I share a post on LinkedIn as like oh no, how many people are going to react to this or engage with this or whatever. Like it's totally just, I'm putting something, and I can honestly, truly say that I've gotten some level of value no matter what I've posted, be it a new connection, like deep, somebody who got it. Or maybe it's just me, again, practicing my storytelling. I feel like just when I look at it like that, is like, I'm trying to just practice sharing my thoughts, sharing my experience, sharing my journey. And everybody, I so believe this, everybody's so different. Everyone has such a unique, different experience. And there's going to be somebody who's going to get value out of that's. I don't even really feel like I share like advice. I'm like saying like, this has been my experience, you guys. Take it or leave it, do what you want with it. And so I just look at it as practice instead of putting myself out there, instead of thinking about, oh no, what are other people thinking?
Yeah. So this is my personal experience. And I have 16,000 followers, which sounds like a lot to some, but then you look at people like Chris Wynn, Trevor Nielsen, 50,000.
Yep.
Other people have 100,000.
They
post something and in 5 minutes, 100 people are liking it.
Yep.
I have 16,000 followers, and sometimes I get like literally last week, I got one post with like 80 impressions.
Yep.
After like an hour.
Yep.
Which is like pathetic when you think about it. But then at the same time, when you think reframe it, we just had Pinkett on the show last week and kind of reframe it. That means only 50 people saw it.
Exactly.
Like, who cares, right?
So no one else even knows. So it's okay. Don't even worry if you're like, oh no, there's no reactions here. Exactly. I think that same thing too.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so if you post it and nobody responds and you get no impressions, just think of it like you said as practice. That's it.
Yeah.
And then, but here, Drew Harema actually just mentioned this in the LinkedIn chat. Shout out to Drew. He's absolutely right. The best way to work up to posting and engage with other people is commenting on other people's threads, other people's posts. And that's also a wonderful way to build a relationship. I say this all the time, that the magic happens in the comments. And, one of the things that I see people do all the time that drive me crazy when they go to network on LinkedIn is they will send a DM, cold DM. Hey, this is blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for a job. Can you help me? That's the absolute worst way to network on LinkedIn. If you go find people that you like, find companies you want to work for, find people that work there, find people that post a lot. Obviously, they have to post often for you to comment on their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But comment, put the bell on, get notified when they post, be the first few people to post or to comment.
Yep.
And you build a repertoire. You build like a reputation for like kind of engaging and repertoire is weird. I don't know why I said that word, but you build this engagement up and you start to have a conversation with them in public. Yeah. You don't need to go in their DMs. And
Yeah.
then you can reply to other people's comments and have a conversation with them. Do that for a few weeks or a month or so, and then slip into the DMs.
Yeah. And just remember, no, like probably nobody is seeing this. Probably, maybe there
Yeah,
will be some.
exactly.
Or you're
Yeah,
me, and then you find out it's like 750,000 unique view accounts saw your post, but that's fine. Whatever. We worry about that later.
yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I will also say though that I put a note on my post saying like, hey, if you want to connect, like please send me a message with your note if you do. And
Yeah.
I've gotten some of the most nicest, most intentional, like people who wrote something specific about why they wanted to connect with me. And I was actually, I shouldn't be surprised, but I was also surprised at how many people sent me connection requests without anything, without commenting or adding a note, even though I put in there like make sure that you add a note. And so
Yeah.
I am okay with people DMing me, but I would love to hear like why it is that you're wanting to connect, and that has helped build a more intentional network, a better feed. You also gave me that advice last year too, of like just block or unfollow people. Like just get like specific about who you want in your feed, and it really is okay. And that has made a huge difference of where I know so many people are like LinkedIn is cringy and depressing, and we get those posts about why getting engaged is what it taught me about sales or whatever. Then just unfollow and block those, and it helps create such a better, at least my LinkedIn experience has been so much better since I've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, LinkedIn user, I don't know who that is. Whoever that is, LinkedIn user, you put your name on it because I guess you wouldn't know who LinkedIn user is anyway. They keep in mind LinkedIn gatekeeps notes behind the paywall now. So there's a limit. I think there's 10. I think you can send 10 of those in a month, maybe, or a week or something. There's some
I forgot.
limit.
I have a sister who works for LinkedIn, and so I have a premium. Dang it! Oh, I hate that. Okay, I'm sorry then.
Yeah, but I mean, how often you send? I don't know. Anyway, some people are doing it.
And just comment on one of my posts or something and say, "Hey, I want to connect with you. I'm sending you a connection request or something."
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great way. That's a really great way.
But you have to do it publicly. Tell me why you want to connect publicly. I still want to know why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I love that. So some kind of way. But then again, if you're commenting on their posts all the time, and then you send a connection request.
Yeah, like you said, I do. I absolutely think that is that is great. Just follow and start conversations. Just start conversations with people.
Yeah. All right, cool. So this was actually somebody just posted, Chari Chin Young Caston. This was another question somebody came up was how do you take the Super Hireable posts, you made them for LinkedIn, tailoring them for Instagram or X or maybe even TikTok, making a video. That would be really cool, like a video Super Hireable post. I don't know if you've done that before.
I've kind of thought about it. I'm like, do I need to get in? I'm such a TikTok lurker. That's the one that I'm like, no way, I can't go. I can't put my face on there. I feel like it kind of depends on what you are looking for, what the role is. Like, I can't think of something off the top of my head, but like for TikTok, I would just leave that to somebody else. I think as long as you are being intentional about why you are posting or why you're posting on the certain social media platform, considering their own rules. Like I feel like I really can only speak to LinkedIn because that's the one that I've been engaging with. I don't use Instagram. I lurk on TikTok, but I don't actually use it in any way. So yeah, I would say it just depends on why and what.
So Chari Chin Young Caston, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. I can't tell. I can't see the thing. I don't know. Anyway, they posted that they did a video. So
incredible.
Post a link. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, send it to me. I'd love to see it.
Really cool.
I genuinely would love to see people do something totally different. I be creative. It's a way to practice your creativity. Yeah. It's something that's in your control and can show off your skills.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so this is another question that I think is related to what we're talking about here is how do you keep this content fresh, right? Engaging over time. So you can't post the same thing every week, obviously. What are your thoughts there on how people might be able to take the carousel, rework it, make it fresh and new so that's not...
Oh, take the like specifically a Super Hireable post?
I don't know. The idea, I don't know.
Is that
they weren't very specific in the question. I'm just assuming that's what they meant.
I don't know. I look at it as, design process of just like iterate, like I did with my first post. I thought, okay, how could I communicate this better? And then learn, like be taking notes, like be observing, be thinking about what worked with this first one. then switch it up. I have an issue where I love color, and I love all different types of fonts. Like I was going through multiple iterations of that as well. I will say too, though, I do think this is fun for me with the design background, is the font, the design aspect of it, of like trying different fonts and stuff, and branding. Like the branding aspect has been really fun, of like finding my color palette and everything. So I do think it's powerful to like stay consistent with your brand, but also don't be afraid to switch it up too. If you're, like I said, like I look at my one from last year and I realized I don't think that was the most reflective of like those colors of my personality necessarily. And so I tried to really make it change with that with this next one. But even then, next week I'll be like, no, I want a totally different palette, totally different everything. Yeah. I think that's the hard part about design, is you want to do all
for sure. So LinkedIn user, maybe this is Trevor Johnson again. Hot take. You can post similar content multiple times because the fact that different people might see it. And you get 50 impressions.
Trevor.
Week, 50, it might be somebody completely different seeing
exactly. You'll have a new audience. That's a really good point. I couldn't agree
Content
more.
creators do that all the time, and you make a good point. Nobody cares as much as you about repeating yourself, because most of the time people don't see what you're posting anyway. Right. So I think that the fair point, if you are interested in trying to change it up, though, I could easily see taking that framework and making little mini case studies, right? So one week you could post a little case study about one project, or even taking a larger project and breaking up into little features. How did you solve a specific interaction problem or something, and kind of doing that. And you could kind of, or you could do testimonials from like previous employer, previous colleagues one week, so I could see like using that same framework or same layout template and just kind of repurposing the content, changing the headlines. And
I'm going to say two things to that is, like, really be thinking about your industry. So again, I cannot in this moment think of something else, but like whatever your job is, I genuinely don't know. Somebody think of something, but think about what would be something that would speak powerfully with your field, your industry, like what you're trying to do. And the other thing is, like, my really good friend Phil Schroeder, he posted one today that rocked my socks. It's like a sizzle deck, that's what he called it, and he made like an interactive reel in Figma where you can actually hover over stuff as well. Like I feel like he's a way more experienced designer than I am, and he took it to a next level as well. So it's but that's him getting intentional about what he's looking for with the type of job. I think that's part of why the Super Hireable post did better, is because it is aligned with kind of the work that I'm in overall. I did, after I posted it, I'm like, wait, am I supposed to be a product marketing manager maybe? Because there's so many marketing people that reached out to me. So that's like a whole other thing I could talk about a long time. It's just job titles. Like, it's so hard to know sometimes you're like, who am I? What am I trying to do? I could be good at a lot of different things. That's what I do love about Super Hireable, is that it's so transferable skills. Like, it's again thinking about, how do I transfer my background, that I'm not your typical candidate, and that's okay, but then showcase it in a way that fits for what you're looking for.
Yeah, and we're talking about designers and stuff, but I mean, I could easily see like an accountant using it to show off their accounting skills. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't have to necessarily be designers. I don't know how many accountants would be out there listening, but if you're an accountant,
make one and then send it to me, because I want to see it. I would love to see more of those kind of posts where people are like, I took my industry, my field, and tweaked this in some way to fit for what I'm looking for.
Yeah, so we've got about 12 more minutes left.
Only 12 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, we could keep going. I could stay for a little bit. I don't want to go too far over. I know other people have meetings and stuff.
I don't.
A couple more questions, though, that I think were really worth. One, this is maybe, I think you might have answered this a little bit, but somebody asked a question, I can't remember where it was, about cultural differences, posting this, maybe you're in one culture versus, we're obviously American. What about like other, maybe Eastern culture, Asian culture, whatever? I don't know.
Is that the type of posting we're talking about? Are we talking about like a...
just, I guess the question, I can't remember.
Or like work culture, like the company culture?
I guess, maybe that's a good way to look at it. I think they were probably saying like, societal, culture. But I think does it matter? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, that's
right? Like, you're trying to get a job. How do you influence or impress different cultures? I guess, I don't know.
One of the coolest things that came from Super Hireable was I had somebody reach out to me. He said, hey, I want to make this a Spanish version of this. And so we did it. I've collaborated with two people on making like a Spanish version and a Portuguese version. I haven't been tagged in those ones, but maybe if it at least helps people maybe English isn't their first language. That's something I'm really happy to collaborate with somebody if they want to translate them into different languages. But again, I also don't know, it depends on, is that your primary language? I feel like in my world, at least, that I'm only seeing English speaking.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But, I think that goes back to your point though, of like, use what works for you. I mean,
you have to use what works for you.
Translating it probably won't work very well if your whatever culture likes really busy things and just crammed all the text in, and that's very different from maybe like a Western European where it's very minimalist and modern or whatever. So, all right, the last couple of questions we got a bunch of these about just the outcome from a lot of this. So we got like, has it resulted in interviews? We got questions about just like how has it impacted your job search? Things like that. What are your thoughts? How has it helped you since posting this a year ago and now moving on? What kind of outcome have you seen from all of this?
Let's see. I wrote down some numbers if people are interested in actual metrics overall. Of like, my post got 1,150,000 impressions, 171 impressions. I had 754,110 unique views. So that means like unique LinkedIn accounts. 14,911 profile views, 3,133 new followers. There have now been a total of 104 total Super Hireable posts, and this is just the people who've actually tagged me in theirs. I think there's been some that people don't tag me, which is fine. But then from all of that, again, and I'm still going through my messages, it's hard for me. I feel I have like 17 job leads total, and of those ones I applied to 6, again, because I'm trying to be very intentional about where I'm going or what I'm trying to do overall. I got fast tracked to 1 interview.
Okay.
I feel like people may be surprised to hear that. Out of all of it, I
was actually surprised to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah. But, thinking back on what you were talking about, I mean, I guess my big question for you, how many did you filter out? Like, you were just like, this is not for me. Did that happen a lot? Did you get
that's
a lot
a good
of ones
question.
where you're just like, I don't, it's too cringe for me?
That's a really good question that I do not have an answer to at this time. If I had to guess or estimate, maybe like 15.
Okay.
I should look at my job leads page, because I also did have plenty of people who reached out being, saying like, we don't have something right now, but I'd love to keep you in mind for something in the future, which is then again, okay, then let's keep a conversation going. Like, I'd love to be kept in mind for future stuff overall. I had a lot of people reach out about freelance stuff, which that's a world that I am not as familiar with, but I'm working on that. I'm figuring that part out. I have had people who've said you should just do Super Hireable full time. Like, maybe I could help people with designing their posts, give them feedback, review it, or
like a coaching.
I know that there's people who said they're interested in buying the template, and please message me. I think I'm trying to sell it. I'm happy to sell you my template, my new one, I should say, of my updated one. So I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. It's kind of hard to filter through and decipher through everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, you planted these little seeds. Like, who knows, a year from now, tomorrow, somebody will be like, hey, we saw this thing and blah, 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 So, anyway, I don't know. I think I don't know.
I want to add that, like, if you are like, okay, my only goal with posting a Super Hireable post is just to get a job. Like, I just want to get offers or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it could set you up for disappointment. Like, maybe it could. There are people who have gotten jobs because they got noticed. They also had everything else had to align as well, but that was at least like the first thing that got their foot in the door. To eventually get a job. And so that's again where I'm like, don't do Super Hireable if you are going to be disappointed if it doesn't, result immediately in what you want. But that's not. I'm so glad that I did it. I wouldn't take it back. Again, the qualitative aspect of the connections that I made has been so exciting and really what I'm looking forward to get out of doing this. I do need a job. I absolutely need a job. And also, I love connecting with folks and cool folks who are trying to help and support me. And I know it's going to come. I have no doubt in my mind that something's going to come because of all this Super Hireable stuff.
Yeah. Well, Diana mentioned too in the LinkedIn post, and I'm sorry, some people, for some reason, it says LinkedIn member or user, and then some people actually shows your name. So I apologize for the ones I'm not saying your name. But anyway, Diana mentioned like you've built a community and not just around yourself, like other people, because you've shared this template. Now other people are part of this hashtag Super Hireable group, and so you have these members in bond, and like, oh, we're going through the same pain of looking for a job together, and you've built this community, which I think on its own, even that is just incredibly valuable.
Oh my gosh.
Worth
100%. It was like this unintentional domino effect that happened. But like, I didn't even know that. I didn't set out to do that in any capacity of like, oh wait, now they tag me in it. They've laid out for me what they're looking for. I'm already searching anyway. So if I see anything that's in there, what they're aligns with what they're looking for, I send it to them. I go comment on it, and then that brings a whole other group of people. Like,
I love it.
And that is the number one thing I feel like I have learned has been, do not do the job search alone. It's so much easier and better when you have other people who are supporting you, but be intentional. And like you said, do not be transactional with it. Like, you have to focus on the quality over the quantity, and it makes you able to sustain it yourself, I think, on LinkedIn so much more. Don't get me wrong, though. I absolutely have my weeks. Like, I avoided LinkedIn hard last week. I have like my ups and downs with it for sure, and that's okay. But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree. LinkedIn, take it in small doses. I post a lot, but that's because I'm trying to promote the podcast and all that crap. Yeah. But for most people, it's probably too much. Yeah. Last thing before we get out of here, I've got some this or that questions that I like to ask all of my live guests. I know. I've heard you ask these on other ones. Everybody get to know you a little bit better. Before we do that, though, let everybody know where can they find you. Obviously, LinkedIn, but you've got your templates and all that stuff. What's the URL to go find those? Do you have those in a safe spot? You have those in a handy spot where we can go grab them? Yeah. Give all that stuff a little plug. On
KaileyTrussel.com, I have a Super Hireable tab that has stuff on there. I'm really only on LinkedIn, and there. That is my presence.
KaileyTrussel.com.
Yes,
and that
exactly.
is Trussel. For those of you watching on YouTube that might not see the LinkedIn, it's not LE. I made that mistake early on.
That's okay.
Trussel. .com. Find it out.
Yep, perfect. Awesome. Come find me there and reach out. Like, I'm happy to help. Again, if you are interested in, like, if you want help with designing your post, I think we could figure something out. This is something I would be really interested to explore is, maybe I don't want to charge because I have so much empathy for my job seekers. I know money is tight, but if you've gotten any value out of anything that I've shared or done, or again, I'm happy we could work something out.
You need a little buy me a coffee button.
That's what I actually do need to get that. I need to do a buy me a coffee thing. My Venmo is Kailey. My Venmo is Kailey-Trussel if you want to.
There you go. Yeah, that works. All right.
I don't care. I'm not picky.
Hurry up.
Yep.
Somebody give this woman some money. All right. So I've got 20 this or that questions.
Okay.
Really simple. First thing that comes to your head.
Yep.
For anybody listening, though, stick around to the end because I got 25% off the Beyond UX Design shop. So don't leave yet. We're not done. 20 questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Don't have to think about it too hard. Are you ready?
Yes. I'm going to say the first thing.
All right. Dog or cat?
Cat.
Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
Phone call or text?
Phone call.
All right. When you're presenting, do you like big crowds or small crowds?
Small crowds.
All right. You said LinkedIn earlier, so I think I know the answer. X or TikTok? Neither.
TikTok. Oh, TikTok. You. Gross. No X. Bleh.
No, yeah. I'm with you. I can't do either. All right. Aisle or window seat?
Aisle. No, window. All right. Window.
Window? Okay.
Yeah.
Form or function?
Form? I don't even, what does that question mean?
Like form or function, like work well, or like does it like look pretty or work well?
Oh, no. No, that's an impossible question.
Trick question. It's both.
Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah.
All right. Pen or pencil?
Pen.
All right. Dot graph or lines on your paper? Or blank? That's maybe 3.
Dot graph.
All right.
Lines,
when you're sleeping.
Lines.
You like lines?
Yeah.
Okay. You changed your mind. First thing in your head was dot graph. Okay.
Oh, you're right.
When you're sleeping, fan or no fan?
Fan.
All right. This is a really important question. Ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
All right. This one you will be judged heavily.
I know. Okay.
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars. Because I don't really know Star Trek.
You were
so the wrong answer?
The obvious correct answer is Star Trek.
What's Star Trek?
Online shopping.
What's my score?
That was the only one where I actually judge you.
So I failed.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. 0%. Got it.
Yeah. Online shopping or in-person shopping?
Online.
All right. I can't remember how many questions I actually asked you so far. I said 20, but I'm not keeping track. Would you rather have a permanent unibrow or no eyebrows at all?
Permanent unibrow. I already
Okay.
have one basically. So
You can always plug it, I guess.
I'm
All
I'm
right.
long hair.
Would you rather go on a cruise with your boss or never go on vacation again? Your last boss. Go on
It
a
depends
cruise with
on
your
who's my
last boss,
my last one.
or never go on a cruise, never go on vacation again.
Sorry, I guess I can't go on vacation again.
They're not watching. Don't worry, they're not
Oh,
watching.
yeah, I hope
All
you
right.
guys won't be here.
All right. These are some life related questions. Would you rather always have to sing everything instead of speaking, or dance wherever you go?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I feel like I already do that singy thingy anyway, so it would
I'm
probably
answering your
be
question. All
singing.
right.
That's a hard question. I like both of them. I'm a big karaoke person,
Mm, I
so
have a list. Do you have a list that you
yes,
keep?
I
Just
have a full on playlist.
yeah, because you never know when you go karaoke. You're like you always forget. You're like, damn it, what was
Everybody
that
always
song?
wants the playlist. I'm like, don't worry, I've got this
Yeah,
under.
I got
I've
the list.
figured it
I
out
have the
for
list.
everybody. Yeah.
This is totally off topic. What is your top song on your karaoke list?
Hello by Lionel Richie.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I won't ask you to sing it right now. All right. Last question, because I can't remember how many I asked you. When you're conducting research, user research, you only conduct research using interpretive dance or haiku poems.
Oh wow. I feel like the interpretive dance. I would love to see a UX researcher do that. Which obviously you can get really creative with both, but the
Yeah.
interpretive dance intrigues me a bit more, I think.
I think I'd love to see that research
Yeah.
session.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I don't know, like, it'd be funny if you had to do interpretive dance and then they had to do interpretive dance back to answer your question.
Yes.
Or if one of them was just interpretive dance, like if the users could only answer in interpretive dance, that would
Honestly, I feel
also be
like
really funny.
that
I
would be
don't
a
know.
really
This could be like
powerful workshop activity or something, with the stakeholders, with clients, just to help break the ice a little
I
bit.
love it.
And
That would
I'm
be,
sure
I just want to
someone's
see
done that somewhere.
anyone who, like, Yadi, if you're out there, you're listening and you need to do like an improv skit or something, I feel like that is like a perfect one.
And
Yadi, if
I
you're
would like to be
listening,
invited to that.
please
But,
film it and invite us. I'm
yeah.
very close to Chicago. I will drive up there
I
myself to
will
take
I
a
will
part.
I will drive or fly as well. I will make it happen.
All right, that is all that we've got. I can't remember if that was 20 questions or not. It was somewhere around 20 questions. Any closing thoughts before we get out of here, Kailey? Anything else you want to leave for all those people that are watching out there, all
Yes.
6 people on YouTube? What do you want to let them know?
It's too many things. This is where I say, if you have other questions or other things we didn't touch on here, please reach out to me. And I know I haven't been great at. I'm trying to get on responding back. I will get to them. I want to help people however I can. So if we didn't answer something that you still have questions about, please reach out to me. The other thing I'm going to say is, I feel I don't want to contribute more you've got this, it's okay. But again, I just hope that people have gotten something out of this to help sustain themselves a bit more. And it really takes a village. I can absolutely attest to this. I did not do Super Hireable on my own. It took so many other people, interactions, relationships, people who were supporting me. People are really good if you give them a chance and tell them how they can best support and help you. And so give people that opportunity to help you, because we all need it. I just think it is so unrealistic to expect job seekers to be doing and figuring out this insanity on their own.
Yeah.
And so I'm really do not put it on yourself. Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. It's okay. I no longer tell myself consistency. I tell myself persistency. That is you know what? I may have a week off, or I may be down about it. I may sob uncontrollably when I didn't get a job, but I will come back. I do come back. And that's what I feel I hope for everybody as well, is just do come back. And if you keep at it, something will work out. You can pivot, things change, things have evolved for me over this last year, but I am keep trying. And that is what's helped with.
That's it.
Sustaining.
Persistence, grit.
Yeah.
The job market sucks. I know,
It
from
super
personal
sucks.
experience. So, yeah, awesome. All right, Kailey. Well, that is everything that I've got. Make sure to check out KaileyTrussel.com. Follow her on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And we appreciate you guys coming out, everybody hanging out on YouTube and LinkedIn, all that stuff. We really appreciate
it. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, Kailey's parents, shout out. All right, so I got a little thing I'm going to read here. You can, let's see, you You can hang out. You want to hang out? You can hang
I'm
out.
hanging out. I'm hanging out.
It's a lot
yeah.
harder for me to click all the buttons in
Yeah,
one
don't worry.
stream
Don't
and
worry.
go back
I'm
and
good.
forth.
I'm hanging out.
All right. So are you ready for that Beyond UX Design coupon code?
Let's
Where's
hear it.
my little QR code? Where did it go? There it is. Boom. Get your print on. You ready for that Beyond UX? Head on over to beyonduxdesign.com/shop. Pick up some big, beautiful UX theme art prints and digital downloads that you can print yourself. Get free shipping on all orders over $30 and use the code LIVE to get 25% off your entire order. Head on over to beyonduxdesign.com/shop and get your print on. If you want to transform your career from fuzzy to focused, make sure to grab UX Playbook's Fast Track Bundle. Head on over to beyonduxdesign.com/playbook and use the promo code BEYOND for nearly $25 off all those examples, videos, tips, handcrafted by my buddy Chris Wynn. Help keep the show independent and ad-free. Check out beyonduxdesign.com/support. I need to take a breath. Jesus
You're doing
Christ.
great.
You can join Chris, Siraquan, Stacy, Radu, Megan, Andrew, John, Mark, Kevin, Jason, Michelle, Marty, many others, and help keep the show independent and ad-free. And you'll get rough transcripts and exclusive access to the entire video library of episodes, including episodes before they're released, for as little as $5 a month. Remember to sign up for the newsletter. Check out all the past episodes along with all the show notes at beyonduxdesign.com. I hope you keep coming back for more great UX tips from Beyond UX Design. And remember, you're more than a designer, because there's more to UX than design. We'll see you around.
Amen
Where
to that.
is that video thing? That's it. We're done. We're out.